We're Hasani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hasani.
And I am Janella.
And we are Couples Academy practitioners coming to you live and direct to have great conversation with you this morning. I know it's Thursday, and we're talking about you answering your questions. It's Ask the Experts Day. We're going to do 2 days in a row because many of you are chomping at the bits. You have so many questions, and we want to take the time to answer those things. So make sure wherever you are in the country, in the world, post your question now. If it's about communication, if it's about intimacy, if it's about how to recover, triggers, being separated, whatever it is, we want to hear from you. And post your city, state, and country so we can represent you. We're excited because we just finished this friendship series, and I tell you, the response was great, and hopefully you'll incorporate that into your life. But today we're answering your questions because this is the place where people come out to hang out, to talk about love, life, and relationships. So we're going to dive in. Next weekend is the last chance weekend, and I'm telling you, up until like 2 a.m, we're getting texts and phone calls, and is there any room left? Is it too late? And we're excited about all the people who are going to be flying in from all over the world. But it's not too late. If you are interested, we still have room for you. So just click the link in the description, Last Chance Weekend, or reach out to us on our website, couplesacademy.org, or just call or text 678-200-8996 so that we can get you in here. All right, listen, we want to go to a testimonial. We got to start this off because to me, when you hear from other people about how they've transformed their life and their marriage, it really makes a difference. We're won over by the testimonies of other people. So check this out. We'll get started with today's session. And remember, post your question and we'll dive right in.
Hi, my name is Lacey. I'm from New Jersey, and this Last Chance Weekend with Couples Academy has been life-changing for me. It has made me think deeper than I've ever had to think about myself and how I show up in my marriage and in my relationship with myself and as a partner to my husband. When I found Couples Academy, which was only a week ago, I had some feeling that this was something that I needed to do, and I was scared, I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect, but I took the leap of faith with my husband to come to this amazing experience, and it has changed us. I can honestly say that we will never be the same couple. The days are hard, they're long, and I've learned more about how to be the person I want to be than I ever thought I would. I thought this was a last chance to see if my marriage was going to work out, and it ended up not being that at all. It ended up being a chance for me to discover myself and discover who I want to be, and in that, becoming the person I want to be with my husband, and how much I actually want to grow with him and live my life with him. And for that, I'm so grateful.
All right, guys, we're back. We're couple questions came in. We're going to take our time and dive into it. I want to acknowledge Ben Scott, who is a loyal viewer. And every time there's an opportunity to ask a question, he does. And I want to just appreciate you for that. We're going to take some time and walk through this. And then if you have a question, post it now so we can get to it. But Ben says, good morning from Tennessee. What do you do when physiology is the issue? My wife is overweight and I am visually not attracted. I was unfaithful and the affair partner was fit. Also, internally there was a size. I don't know what that means, but okay. Differences also, the affair partner was tighter. I shared a physical emotional bond. I hear plenty of connection. I hear plenty of connection, but I bonded out in all four corners like JB, dude, like what are you saying? As an 8 wing 7 after ending the affair, I'm experiencing depression trying to make my marriage work. There's a lot here. Janella, jump in. What are your thoughts? I mean, he mentions physiology, and I know that you've been in the medical world for many years. Maybe you can speak to it from that perspective, but also tie into the comparison that's made between the affair partner and the wife in terms of attractiveness and his justification for cheating.
Well, Ben, we appreciate your honesty and sharing that you actually have those thoughts. But I want to share this with you. Like, as a woman, our body image, what we feel about ourselves, is very important. I'm not sure what your wife's story is or what got her to this point, but usually there's something behind that. And a lot of times, if women feel that their husband is not attracted to them, that actually puts more pressure on them. And sometimes they have a very difficult time trying to align themselves with weight loss and trying to do all the other thousand things in life that they're trying to do. So, one, I believe you really need to have an open, honest conversation with her, seasoned with a lot of grace and empathy, because that's a difficult conversation to tell someone that I'm not physically attracted to you. And that is your wife, the woman that you committed to, that you have vows with, that you promised to love. So that is a touchy subject, but it's one that needs to be had so you all can work together. Maybe you can do something fun to get her active again, to make her feel alive again. There's a lot of things that you can do to help her along the way. But first, she has to want that for herself before she even consider weight loss. So we have to figure out what's going on. Comparing her to your affair partner, that's not really a great idea. You need to focus on the person that you're with, that you're committed to, and just have an open conversation with her and see where it goes from there. And also, before I leave, it may be something medical that's going on with her. So we may have to do like a physical with her doctor. I'm not sure if she has done that, but sometimes it could be some underlying issues that's causing weight gain. I don't know what her age is or her activity level, what her job level. There's so many things that play a role into that. So there's a lot of things to be considered. And you also play a good role in it too, how you approach her and how you support her.
Excellent answer. Very comprehensive. And I appreciate you for answering that. Ben, let me just jump in as well. Interestingly enough, when we're talking about the emotional needs that people have in relationships, interestingly enough, physical attraction or having an attractive spouse is one of those things. So I understand the need to be attracted to your spouse. Interestingly, most relationships start off with physical attraction and emotional desirability that initiates the relationship. So as long as you look good and you make me feel good, then it's all good and all will be well. But even though that initiates relationships, it takes so much more to maintain a healthy relationship. And when you're comparing your wife to an affair partner, the fact is, I don't care how fine you would want your wife to be. I don't care what type of body you would want your wife to have. There's someone out there who will be finer, who will be fitter. It's just the reality. right? So if your decision to be unfaithful is based upon superficial, physical, external type things, then you will always find yourself looking past, looking for more, because the law of gravity sets in when you reach a certain age. We go through physical changes. If you've been married for quite some time, you aren't who you were when you were 18. I'm sure your body has changed. And so there's a level of maturity, emotional maturity, that comes along with relationships, and a level of commitment. And the fact of the matter is, there's always going to be somebody smarter. There's always going to be someone more intellectual. There's always going to be somebody more spiritual. There's always going to be somebody more attractive. But that is not who you are assigned to. When you establish a threefold covenant between you, your partner, and God, it was a commitment to be there in good times and in bad, when they're thin and when they're not, when they're fit and when they're not. And to Janella's point, introduce the idea of doing things together, walking, exercising, doing your best to maintain your physicality. But even when you're operating at your best, if you don't have a commitment to the marriage, or if you have alternative plans and other options, you won't be satisfied in the relationship you're with the person that you're with, period, point blank. So really, it's a decision. It is a decision. And so that's how I would answer your question. But I will say this is a very common question that people do have, and hopefully that helped. Let's go to another one. Being a woman, that was a great answer. Could be hormones or thyroid. It is what is on the inside that counts, not the outside. Beauty on the outside goes away with time. And I think there's truth to that. And so once we accept that reality, I think it helps us. Now, I think we all should continue to strive to be our best selves. The best that you can be for you. And as long as you're committed to that process, I think that works. Andre has a question. If a spouse cheats and you decide to work on things and stay together, and after communication is I guess, amazing, the touch is amazing, the sex is amazing, and lots of it, then it slows down, and the partner that cheated is still wanting all that because that's what they want. But the faithful partner seems distant compared to right after. Oh, Lord. Right after, what do you do and how do you deal with it properly? Did you get that? Because I'm reading and I'm trying to comprehend it all at the same time.
I think he's trying to say, like, I guess after the affair was discovered, the sex was amazing. It was plentiful. And the faithful partner began to decrease and not maybe engaging as often as before. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. But if that is the point, the person may, after time, just everything has set in, and now they may start having questions, or maybe feeling like the thrill is gone and they're like back in a routine of life. So a conversation may need to be had, like, I noticed that there's a change. What's going on? Are you having triggers? Is something happening to cause you not to want to? And then a lot of times it's the person who was cheating on is really trying to keep up with whatever you were doing while you were in the affair. So after a while, that's going to wear off. So you're going to have to still get down to the root of the issue, and possibly there may be more healing that needs to be done. Something may be going on that has caused this decrease or decline, or the person may just not be in the mood to do that. So it will require a conversation.
I'm glad you answered that, because I still don't understand the question. So guys,
I think that's what he was saying. You can clarify it in the comments.
Get to the question, because I'm trying to give you an answer. But listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're free to repost that question, and we want to hear from others. You're watching a Couples Academy show. Today is Ask the Experts. Get your questions in so that we can give you the answers that you need. Stay right there.
Couples Academy is committed to serving couples around the world by reaching beyond cultural lines and language barriers. We are proud to announce that we now serve the Spanish-speaking community. So whether you're here in the United States or abroad, Couples Academy has a place for you.
Couples Academy se compromete a servir parejas de todo el mundo, superando las fronteras culturales y las barreras del idioma. Ahora, estamos orgullosos de anunciar que servimos a la comunidad de habla hispana. Entonces, ya sea que estés aquí en los Estados Unidos o en el extranjero, Couples Academy está aquí para servirle.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
You know, Janella, I'm not as intelligent as you. I don't get it like that. I'm slow, right? So I went to commercial break so I could read that question like 3 times over. I think I got it now. I think I got it. So yeah, I want to weigh into it. So basically the affair was discovered and then things got better. Sex was popping off. Communication was great. Everything was going well. So you were in the season where everything was just exactly where you wanted it to be. And then it slowed down. How do you make that adjustment? All right. So let's talk about this, because what happens is when the affair is discovered, the reaction of the betrayed spouse will vary depending upon who you are with. Some people have a fear of loss reaction. And okay, so whatever you did, I'm going to double down on that to keep you from leaving. So if we need to talk more, if we need to date more, if we need to have more sex, great. I just want you here. I don't want you to leave, right? Some people have a delayed reaction where they're just, it didn't hit them yet. It didn't set in yet, right? So maybe they're just going along to get along. But then after a while, they wake up one day and they're in a deep depression and they can't believe that this is happening and woe is me. And they have a hard time adjusting and accepting. And so there begins to be a disconnect, right? They begin to self-protect. They begin to isolate and they're processing things. And now the anger comes and the resentment comes. People use different things to serve a different purpose. Like, for instance, if we're talking sexually, I know that some people go into sexual overdrive where they're overcompensating for what was missing, or maybe they're in competition with the affair partner. And so if that's what it was, then that's exactly what I'm going to do to keep you. And then others are like, I'm grossed out. We have an asexual relationship. Don't touch me. That will never touch me again. It's over. So you have to realize that it's a journey you're on. It's a journey. There are seasons that you go through. There are challenges and ups and downs, and you've got to be able to weather the storm. Like if you're committed to this, it can be a long and hard road. And one minute you think all is well, and the next minute there's a situation, and you've got to be able to properly navigate through it and be highly adaptable. And this is exactly why we say it's important to get help, because when you don't know what to do, you may have the best of intentions, but what you do can make matters worse. As they say, the road to hell has been paved with good intentions. So that's why Couples Academy is here, and the practitioners are here to kind of guide you through a recovery process that is long lasting and sustainable. Let's go to the next question. Absolutely. God looks at the heart. But as a husband, I love my wife for her internal beauty, but I still want her to be eye candy for me to look at. And yeah, that's true. You know, there's a phenomenal book that many of us are familiar with, and it's entitled Open Her. And in there it talks about different, I guess, prototypes of a man, and one is called The Artist. And in this particular book, it talks about how every woman wants to be seen. She wants to be seen for her physical beauty. She wants to be seen for her internal beauty, and she wants to be seen for the femininity that she walks in. And so with your wife, Ben, she's looking to be seen that way. To be quite honest, when you listen, women, before they say I do, right, are longing for companionship, relationship. They get married, they're in love, and the child comes out, and then you go through a season. Things change, right? There's so many responsibilities that a wife has that a mistress may not. You understand? And it's unfair to make those comparisons and now talk about what your wife is not doing and how she's not showing up. She's tired, she's dealing with kids, she's working. And so she has to be intentional And you have to be intentional to be your best selves in those moments where you come together and connect. But what you're getting from that affair partner is not real. It's fictitious. It's fake. It's you're getting a percentage of who that person really is. You're not getting all of who that person is. And so it's just like the dating season. If I'm not around you every day, the moment that I see you, I'm going to make sure that I'm at my best. But you're living life every day with your spouse, and it's a different reality. So it's an unfair comparison. It's an unfair comparison. Let's go to the next point. Listen, people, he knows what he's talking about. We are moving in. We are in the Moving Forward program, and we are truly moving forward with the help of Couples Academy team. They are truly a blessing. Debbie and Jody, you are family. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me ask you a question, Janella, because you work with many women in the Unearthed program, and you're also a part of working with the couples in the Moving Forward program. What area do you think that the average couple struggles with the most, right? That they need help and guidance overcoming to get them to a better place?
One thing, triggers are a huge issue. A lot of the betrayed spouse feel they're trying to work through that part, and week to week we'll see them deal with that seem to come up a lot. And honestly, it really does take time and support from the other spouse to be there for them and to guide them through that, and just have a lot of empathy for them through that process. And also, it's really just like relearning a new life. Like a lot of things that were done before the affair, you're basically trying to become a better couple. So they're working on communication. That seems to come up quite often, like learning how to communicate to one another. Sometimes the hurt can be so bad that one of the spouses may just shut down, and it doesn't even matter if it's the betrayed spouse or the offender. So we hear that come up. And also, like we've been talking about all week, friends. That is a huge hot topic, whether it's same sex, opposite sex. Sometimes we have to just regroup and revamp the people that we hung with prior to the affair. So that's some of the things that we constantly see. And of course, with the women in Unearthed, they're just trying to get out that gut-wrenching hurt and pain and unforgiveness. So it's so many things that we're working on, but they have the tools, and we're seeing them come out of it. We're seeing them grow and blossom, and we are seeing marriages restored.
So true. That's why I love doing this work, because of the impact that we're able to help make in the lives of people. Here's a question. Is it unrealistic to expect your spouse not to talk about your personal business to friends and family, especially when your spouse will lie about parts of the situation to make it seem worse than it is? So I think and you could weigh in on this too, Janella. I think it is unrealistic to expect a person not to share what's going on in their personal lives. I think we all need somebody to share with in terms of what's going on in our personal lives. I think those couples who say, what happens in this house stays in this house and nobody else can know. When I hear stuff like that, I get kind of concerned, because I'm like, well, what's going on up in that house?
Right.
Everybody needs somebody to release to share with, to vent to, but that person should be someone who we would call a rule one, or someone who means the best for our marriage. I think we share our problems with people who share our problems. And that's the problem. It's not talking to someone, it's who you talk to and what you hear back from them.
Exactly. That is so key. I think that's the problem, like who we're talking to, because sometimes that best friend or the family member may just be the mouth of the South. They are not giving no kind of wisdom, direction. So they actually can make the situation worse. So I don't think the problem is talking to someone, like Hasani said, is who you talk to, because all of us have that crazy family member, like, please don't tell her, because it's going to just be a disaster once they get that information. So you definitely want to go to people that are, like you'll hear us say a lot on the show, friends of the marriage that support it and that will give you wise counsel. Now, if your circle is so jacked up and you just can't find anybody, you need to call Couples Academy, because we have a whole team of people that you can talk to, and we will guide you and help you through your crisis and give you sound advice.
Excellent point. Here's another comment. Experiencing delayed anger but it seems to trigger the unfaithful spouse. As it seems, I should be past this stage. I'm working through positive strategies to manage it, but how can he help? Okay. So basically what you're saying is he's just like, why are you still struggling in this space? You should be beyond this by now. Like, how long you going to be angry? How long you going to be mad? We done been through this. We done that, this, that, and the other. And so, as we always say, the spouse can't control the pace of your recovery. They just can't. And
Awesome.
any attempt that he or she may do to do that, it's going to be met with resistance. So he or she can't be in the driver's seat, right? But at the same time, neither can you. Because if you're in the driver's seat and you do things at your own pace in your own time, maybe you are moving too slow. Maybe he wants you to drive too quickly, and maybe you want to stay in the right lane going too slow. And maybe there's a way of meeting in the middle as you take this journey. So he wants to go 90 miles an hour. You want to go 40. He can cause an accident going too fast. You can cause an accident going too slow. And that's why it may be good for the both of you to be in this back seat with your seatbelt on, allowing somebody else to guide and steer you in the journey, because both of you need to be stretched. Both of you need to have a level of understanding of what each other's going through, but you need somebody to coach and push you through. And a coach can do what your spouse cannot. When your spouse is saying it, you're like, joker, please, right? But when your coach or your counselor is saying it, there's more of a willingness to go along with it because they've helped other people get to this final destination of healing. And so, you're right. You have the tools. But even with those tools, you got to use those tools consistently. So your spouse can help out by being a supporter, by being an encourager, and by him doing what he needs to do in his own personal journey. I think what happens is we so busy looking over at our spouse and what they're not doing or what they should be doing that we take the focus off of ourselves. So yes, it is a journey that you take together, but you also have your individual part in this collective journey that becomes necessary in your recovery. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. You definitely have to think about the other person and where they are. You cannot control that. I think about in my healthcare profession, I can't tell someone what their pain is. If they tell me they're hurting, I just have to take that they're hurting and treat them accordingly. And that's the same thing like with anger or any other type of emotion. We can't dictate or tell someone how to feel. But when both parties are dealing with so many different emotions on so many different sides of the spectrum, you do need someone to help guide you and to help pull you. And then sometimes the way that we say it is received better because, like to Hasani's point, like they know your ins and outs, and sometimes they'll just brush you off and say, oh, he's full of it, she's full of it, and they can't hear the message. But when someone who is neutral, who is really fighting for your last name and not taking sides, then you can let your guard down, receive the information, receive the tools, and then you can move into a space of healing.
Boom, absolutely right. JD Pruitt, I need you to rewrite your question. I don't understand it. Gonzalez says, I agree. However, if we focus on the candy too much, we want other pieces.
Oh, yes.
We have to desire our wife in spite of her outward flaws just as much as the internal. There it is. I appreciate that. Let's go to the next one. My husband divulged information about our marriage issues to the other woman who lives with her boyfriend. I felt so betrayed. Why would he do this when we have friends that are married and share the same values as we do? That's a very good question. And, it's interesting. There was a book that I read some time ago. It was a book that was written to the mistress, explaining to the mistress how she's not getting what she ultimately thinks she wants. And it talks about the relationship between the unfaithful person and the other woman, how oftentimes the other woman or the mistress, or if it's opposite genders, they become not only a partner, but a therapist, because this is the place where I can pour out. This is the place where I can share my frustrations and the person understand, or they give a listening ear. And so we've seen both dynamics where the unfaithful person really shares everything with the affair partner that's going on in their home, and that pisses the spouse off and triggers them. How could you? Why would you tell them all about our stuff? But we've seen the opposite, where the affair partner doesn't even mention ever the wife, at all to the affair partner, and the spouse is triggered. So I never came up in a conversation. You never thought about me. And that offended the person. So, at the end of the day, is there a perfect scenario for an affair? No, because it's all wrong. All of it is wrong. So whatever is done, you have to understand when they're doing what they're doing, 9 times out of 10, they're not doing it for the purpose of hurting you. They're doing it for the purpose of seeking their own personal fulfillment. You understand? That, unless it's like a revenge affair where I'm doing now to you what you did to me, usually their own selfishness is leading what it is that they're doing, and it's making matters tremendously worse. Man, I wish we could go on, but that's the end of our show. I appreciate you. We're going to do a part 2 tomorrow. Janella, I want you back, sis. We got to do this. We got all these questions to answer. So those who didn't get their questions answered today, we will pick up with it tomorrow on top of all of your other questions. Listen, thanks for tuning in. You're watching the Couples Academy show. See you in the morning. Take care.